What's good, everyone? This is your man Z, and welcome to Passport to the Pros. Again, as we promised, we're not only gonna bring you stories, we're gonna bring life lessons as well. We want to tie all of our guest experience and story and turn it into something valuable, so all of our audience can use to plant the next step in their career. Today, I wanted to dive into a specific subject, which is what is it like to play internationally? What's the good and bad and ugly and all in between? What is it like to pack your bag and just go somewhere else where you don't know nothing, chasing a big, big dream? And to best bring experience and knowledge to this subject, I wanted to host my teammate, my brother, and everything, man. This guy been with me for my whole life and been a big brother, been an inspiration, been a guy who will give you advice on the spot, but take your hand through it as well. I would like to welcome my brother Chad Hendrick. Chad Hendrick from Houston, a huge career, met overseas, playing in different country. Luckily, played with them. Didn't have to go against them that many times except practice, so it was an easier thing for me. But I would love to welcome you, Chad. How's it going, brother?
Man, listen, I am so glad to be here, my brother for life, man. I'm so excited, man. How's everything with you?
Man, it's great and great, and I think we're gonna have a great episode. You're a man who fit exactly the subject of this story of this episode with your story and your journey. And to add to it, we brought also Mike with his experience and his really unique, let's say, expertise in this to turn our story into something we can put in our audience hands and make them able to learn from it, have a reference, and have something they go back to through their career. Mike, how's it going?
I'm good, Z. I'm good. Great to be back. Chad, this is our first time doing this show together, so I'm really excited, and hopefully, there's a lot more to come. Got some good stuff up ahead.
A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. I think today we will. This is gonna be our new format for few episodes. So I want everybody to know we always will tap into news and the latest and what's going on in the league. Just stay up to date and also try to tie it to the experience we have. But at the same time, every episode will have a specific subject to talk about, so we keep everything in line and we can get you guys the best information possible. Mike, what's the latest? What do you want to talk about today?
Well, I think there's only one story to talk about, especially given the fact that you and I are in the DMV, and that is the Trey Young trade, which happened this week. Um,
Hmm.
big news for the Washington Wizards. We know they've been rebuilding for a few years.
Is it
They
is
have
it a big
not
news?
been. Oh, I think it's big news. I think it's big news.
Okay.
It's definitely bigger news for the Atlanta Hawks. But
I agree with that.
Right.
I think just thinking about Trey Young as a player, I just went back and looked at some of his stats, and from an offensive perspective, he is so solid. I didn't even realize that these are them. I'm just gonna run them off right now. This is his career average stats: 25 points per game, 9.8 assists, shooting 43% from the field, 35% from the 3 point line, 87% from free throws. He made the playoffs three times and one time in the conference finals, if we all remember, when they beat the 76ers after the Ben Simmons meltdown,
Mhm.
losing to the Bucks, who went on to win the championship. And probably most importantly, he's only 27 years old. So he brings a lot to the table. Nonetheless, he is really considered by many to be a liability. So coming from you two as professionals, my question was going to be, what do you think the Washington Wizards need to do to make the most out of Trey Young and to get the most out of his talents, and what sort of pieces do they need to put around him uh, to actually make this work? I'll start with you, Z.
Okay. Definitely, we've seen recently more unexpected trade and news in this regard. And I think I will leave more the player and the coach's perspective to Chad, just because of his experience. But what I'll bring my point of view as someone in the front office, because that's what I've been practicing on and deal with the NBA. So always the fans see it from completely different perspective, while front office see it in the business point of view. We have to know at the end of the day, this is straight up business. So what it looked like for the Washington Wizards, I think it's a very good move. Honestly, I was making fun of it, but at the same time, I think it's a really good move. Why it's a good move? The Wizards been rebuilding for the last 3 4 years, and after not having a great season for a while, it's hard to attract an all-star player, and you always need that all-star player that you build on and start to make it for more fun for the city. Try to bring the experience of someone who's been around and had been an all-star. So it's not easy to bring someone and make it so attractive if the team's not been doing well for a while, because no player want to come here and not have a good season. So to start with him, with all these draft pick we had in the last 2 years, we have some money to spend. We needed to start look more attractive. We need to start make make the name of the city on the map again. Like, okay, our team is not like just a regular team. I think the only from my perspective, and every person look at it different in the front office, especially when we talk about money and a new contract and the value in the market. But I felt like we gave up too much for the trade. Not meaning Trey Young doesn't deserve this kind of trade, but I think we lost some pieces we've been building around for a while. So, but again, we didn't give any draft pick. So I think that was absolutely disappointing for Trey Young fans that they give him up that cheap, let's say. But to keep having those draft pick, but give up some of the big time players, I think they figure out if I give CJ McCollum, I can get Trey Young at the younger age and build around him earlier. Because CJ had his time with Damian Lillard back in the days. He shows that okay, he's great, but maybe he's not gonna be the vocal point of the team. So I think all of this point added up, and I think it's a good step. I think what the team need to do right now, learn more about Trey Young plans for the future. A lot of players, I was surprised when he say his favorite destination is here, and I think that's very good for us because that means he want to stay. Because you don't want someone to come for a year or two and then leave. If you want to build around him, pay him his money, give him what he worth. And here's the thing I think we can capitalize on. He's coming with a chip on his shoulder. He's coming like I left my city after all I did everything I did. And it was a little bit heartbreaking seeing him just leaving the arena like this and to the locker room. And he spent a lot of good times over there. I think it was supposed to be way better than that. But I think he's gonna come here. He want to prove something. The Wizards need to take advantage of it. Let's start to learn how he play and how he like to operate and put the right pieces around him. We have few shooters. We can add more shooters around him because he's just a good passer. And I think since everybody's saying his weakness is a defense, let's say I'm not gonna go into a war of words with anybody, but let's say if people think he's not that great defensively, it's not the solution just to trade him, get rid of him. Maybe I can build a roster around him who can play defense and complement his way of playing, and that way I'm in a win-win situation. That will be my take, front office goggles, and I'll kick it to you, Chad. What do you think as a player, bro?
Well, I absolutely agree with you on that. From that perspective, looking at it as a business perspective, he's going to put some more butts in seats. So overall for the team, yes, that is a very good move. Now, to go into the type of players that they probably would need to strengthen their team. I hate that he has a knock on the fact that he's not a good defensive player. I believe he knows that. That's why he overcompensates so well on the offensive end. As Mike mentioned, he averaged 25 points a game. I think he's averaged that over his course of his career pretty much. So, and there's been many all-stars in our NBA history that haven't been the strongest when it comes to defense. But I believe this new change, this fresh of atmosphere and environment coming to a place that he seems like he wants to be, hell, he may change that perspective. He may take the initiative and become a better defender to some degree. I think they have a lot of good young guys on their roster. I think everybody's going to be excited. You made a good point by saying that it has been difficult for them to attract all stars consistently, or at least that wants to stay, or who actually wanted to come to the Wizards. He seemed like he wanted to come to the Wizards, so I'm excited about the club. I think they got a lot of valuable pieces already that's there that's going to mesh with him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do.
What
Yeah, I agree
about
with
what
all of
about?
that. I think
No worries.
no. Go ahead, Z.
No, I was just saying, what do you think about it from Atlanta perspective? Like we've been talking about the Wizards, but
Oh,
what about Atlanta?
well, they lost an all-star. They lost 25 points a game. They're definitely made the decision to rebuild. I believe they're looking towards the future. C.J. McCollum, I actually love him as a player. But he's not a number one guy. And I don't think he could be the number one guy that can carry a team like that. So I think they've made a decision to completely rebuild with that move. They lost their main guy. So they have a lot of good young pieces over there as well, kind of like the Wizards, but
Right.
they definitely took an L on the trade.
Sure. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
they have more money to
from
spend,
my
but
understanding.
I see.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. I think they got more money to spend. They want to make a run at it.
yeah,
They found some players that can replace Trey Young that aren't as much of a defensive liability. I too was surprised that they gave him away for so little. That's why
right.
I think actually the Wizards did win the trade.
Hmm.
Um, Corey Kispert. I know I was telling you, Z, I showed you the picture. I think that I saw him. I saw him in McLean literally last week, and I asked him how you doing, and it was funny enough. I was just filling up some gas, and he came in, and he wasn't even paying for gas with his credit card. He came in to give cash and go away, and I saw him, and grabbed a picture. So I thought he was one of the pieces that they were building around. But I'm happy for him that he'll get a chance, hopefully, to play. He's a good shooter,
Hmm.
He's a
um,
very good student.
but I also agree, like it's gonna make the environment in DC a lot more fun.
Mm.
It's really sad, and from someone who owns some Wizards tickets, I hope to see the prices of those tickets go up a little bit so I can sell them, make a little of my money back.
They're gonna
Absolutely,
make you pay,
absolutely.
They're gonna make you pay for it.
They are. All right. Well, let's get on with the episode. Um, the first thing I wanted to do is to really spell out who this episode is for. We're, as Z said at the beginning, we're not here trying to spit off cool takes for social media. We're not trying just to recap all the things that are happening in the NBA on a weekly basis. There's enough podcasts out there that are doing it. We really want to make this for people who have a dream of making it pro in basketball, whether that's the NBA or whether that's playing abroad. So, really, just to highlight specifically, who are we talking to here? We're talking to U.S. high school players, who are probably looking into college and wondering what the next step of their career is. This is for some of the this is for the college players in the U.S. here, whether D1, D2, D3, who realize their talent level where it's at their current age, but want to continue to pursue a career in basketball and understand what their options are if they don't get drafted in the NBA. And then the international players, whether they're playing in clubs or in high school, even what are their options? And we want them to know and give them some advice of there is a career abroad, not in the NBA, in countries around the world, and we want to provide them as much of insight based on real life experience from Z and Chad on and what they can do to further that goal. Um, I mean, let's just recap to make sure that everyone knows your guys' experiences. Just to start off, Chad, how many countries have you actually played in throughout your career?
Oh man, let's see. So I started off playing in Finland. That's my first opportunity. I did a little stint in the Dominican Republic. I think I played with a few little tiny minor league teams prior to that. I got a few weeks in Canada. I've played in South Korea. I've played in Egypt. I've played in Syria. I've played in Qatar. I've played in Kuwait. I've played in, I have to write this down. I would say 15 plus countries I've played in, 22 countries I've
Damn,
visited. So yeah.
Yeah. You've been burning
that is a
tires. Yeah,
lot.
you've been running.
Around the world with Chad Hendrick. I love it. I love it.
Yes,
And
yes,
you know
yes.
what's funny about that? That in every country he goes, it's all about laughing, having fun, playing great basketball, and being a big brother. I think that's
Yeah,
something is
absolutely.
insane to copy this in regards to the difference of culture. You can still carry yourself the same way. I think that I'll give it up to you, bro. I hate to say it,
Well, I
but I will.
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. You can't take yourself too serious, man. Life is life, so you got to take advantage, enjoy it, man. I was lucky. I was blessed. I had an opportunity to see the world, so I'm very blessed and very appreciative of that experience for sure.
For
Z, how
sure.
about you? Tell us. Give us
Um,
your rundown.
kind of the same but a little different because growing up I played back in Syria, so I played for like two of the top clubs in the city, Al Wahda and Al Jaish. And with them we'll have a lot of tournaments, international tournament or in the region. So I'm always all over the Middle East. We'll go sometimes to South Korea, we'll go sometimes, Malaysia or other places, Dubai, Turkey, all these countries.
Hmm.
But then when I started to go on my own, I went more into South America, playing Korea. I was supposed to play in Colombia too, but went there for like 2 weeks. Things didn't work out. Went back to Ecuador, and I end up being here in the States. So I would say same, like 15 plus country, but it was separated differently.
Hmm.
But yeah, been I always say I've been in all the continents. So I played some in Europe, I played some in
Yes.
Africa when I was in Egypt and in Morocco, and I played in
Yep.
South America. I played in Copa America actually, which is I don't know how I end up there, but and then I came here to the States. So it's kind of different, but the same.
Hmm.
All right. Well, that's. I think that's lesson number one, or takeaway number one for me for anybody looking to play abroad. There's a chance to see the world, right? If nothing
Right.
else, there's a lot of jobs out there that I hate to say in this day and age will keep you at home, right in front of your computer. This is a chance for you to actually do something you love and see the world. So write that down, guys.
Absolutely,
Write that down.
Um,
absolutely.
all right, so let's go for the advice. First, number one. Let's start out strong. Chad, if there was someone in front of you right now, let's say a D2 player who is thinking, I want to explore playing abroad, what would be the first thing you recommend they do?
Okay, so if you decide that, hey, I want to take a chance on myself and try to become a professional athlete, you must understand first and foremost what that exactly means. Okay. A lot of players have this impression about what it is to be a pro, and it's not what you see at face value. It's the things behind closed doors that's really what makes you a professional athlete. Professional athletes have a training regiment or a disciplined regiment that's borderline psychopathic almost because you're trying to reach a level of consistency that is least achieved Almost like you have to look at being a professional athlete almost like being a musician in an orchestra. The type of hours it takes to, and when they're performing, they're typically perfect. They don't make any mistakes. Now, in sports, that's impossible, but that's what you almost try to achieve. So the first thing I would tell you is, you need to learn how to train like a professional athlete. The second thing I would tell someone is understand the importance of networking. Okay, you need to start putting yourself in front of people that is in the world of basketball, that has these relationships that can point you in the right direction in order to push your career forward. Because that's really what it's all about. In my experience, when it comes to achieving success in pretty much whatever you do, is who you know. I wish I knew that when I was coming up, is the networking aspect of it and appreciating the relationships that you've developed or you need to develop to prolong or push forward your career. So I would tell them number two, you know, and number three, try to get as much film and you in action as much as possible because if as a pro you need to understand you are a product now because if you want to get paid to be a professional athlete you're selling a service, so you need to make sure that you have record of that service so you can show what you're selling because that's essentially what you're doing. So those are the things that I would tell a guy coming up when it's trying to achieve professional status when it comes to basketball.
Can I follow up on the second point because I think that's so important, not just in basketball but in any career, is the value of networking
Oh my
and really just
goodness.
talking to people and connecting. How how would a high school or college student do that? How do you find the right people to connect with, and what's your in?
I have a son, 24-year-old son, who's actually walking this path. He graduated from high school in 2020 during the pandemic, so that kind of threw his pursuit off track to a certain degree. And we have this conversation a lot. I always try to preach to him the value of networking and how important it is to utilize the people you know. And in this day and age, that's a funny question to ask that now because with technology, you can almost touch anybody now. So it's really about the audacity you have now. Your success nowadays can be measured in the level of audacity you have in yourself. So if you have the audacity to reach out to somebody that you have done the thorough research to find out that's involved in something you want to do, then it just takes the gall to do it now. I mean, at our fingertips, we have access to infinite information. You just have to be savvy enough to find that person. And you'll be surprised with the people that answer audacity. That's what makes audacity what it is. So I would tell you, you just have to be audacious. If you wanted to be an actor, you will go out your way to put yourself in front of an audition. It's almost the same way. So you just have to be audacious about it. When you're trying to achieve something that not too many people can accomplish, sometimes it takes audacity to make it happen. So use that same audacity to reach out to the people to have these connections.
I think that's such a great point, and it's probably so much easier these days than when you guys were coming out. There was no, there was probably email, but there wasn't Twitter. You couldn't DM them on
Oh
Instagram.
yes,
You couldn't. No.
I
You had to find a phone number, and call
I'm
them up
telling
from a
you,
landline. Make a long
I'm
distance phone
telling you.
call.
I'm telling you, in my generation, like it's sometimes I think about, I don't even know how I was able to achieve what I did without the modern technology that we have today. You would have to go find your way into a gym that may have one or two pros in there, or three pros, or four pros in there, and you had to have the audacity to go up to them and tell them, "Hey, you want to do this, or do you have?" You had to talk your way into it, and at the same time prove that you were deserving of that information because you're in that gym, so you had to play. They're not gonna just give you that information. So yeah, it was a little bit more complicated than it is nowadays for sure.
Definitely, definitely. All right, let's move over to Z. Z, what would you tell someone in that same position? And it can be someone in the U.S. or someone abroad. Someone who had a similar situation to you. someone who's playing on their national team, who's young, who's who has the drive, who has already proven the talent, what would you tell them if they were interested in playing abroad?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chad tapped on a lot of good points, but if I want to put it together in my perspective or the way how I looked at it or later started to look at it is you have it comes back to your personality. Like, do you really want it and how bad do you want it? You know, some people just like to be a professional player. That liking is not enough. You have to be obsessed. You have to be like, I'm ready to do this or like die. Somehow life has a strange way to give you what you want when you're ready to do it or die, you know. You know, just you have to look at it, and I have two things to focus on. First, as a player, I think you have to work on your skills. You have to have your own bag. You have to have moves and things you know I'm really good at and how to bring in the game and when to bring it and work on it all time long. Now, on the other side, that's not enough. I wish I can tell people, you know, there is a recipe. If you do it, you'll be fine. No, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's not going to be enough. I'm so sorry. You know, I can't tell you, like, oh, there is one thing you're going to do and the whole thing will change for you. No, I'm sorry. I can't tell you it's going to get easier. I'm sorry. I can't tell you it won't be smooth. But this is
Right.
life because that's what makes sport just another thing of life. Whatever you do, you have to do it very well. Once I remember this, like, this, he was an old coach in the gym and he told me something. He was like, anything you do is the way you do everything. So if you even take in your car to clean it and you be like, you know, that's enough, that should do it. I'm not gonna, you know, pay attention to details. Well, that's what you're gonna do with your career. You're not gonna polish it, you're not gonna pay attention to every single detail. So to go back to the main point, it's not enough to work on your skills and work on all of this stuff. You have to play the other part. Like Chad said, put yourself in the right position. Try people has people like to help people who are trying to help themselves. Show a player or a person how hungry you are. Show him not only talking, I've been working on myself. Here's a highlight of myself. Like Chad say, nowadays you have to have a highlight or anything show who you are. Show, you know, what you can do. Can you shoot? Show me, put that on film. You can dunk, put that on film. You can all of this stuff. You have to do the intangibles. You're not a superstar now where you have your agent, you have all these people who's gonna do it for you. You have to be the agent and you have to be the player. And you have to be the all play all the roles. Because in life, you're not gonna do one thing and be good at it. You have to go all in. Now you have to be ready to face it mentally for sure and be, you know, be ready to face what comes along the way. But when you carry that mentality, I think God will put the right people on your way. There is people who just see it in you, even if you're not there, and they're gonna give you the push. You know, when I played in Chicago, it was my first experience playing in the state on a very high professional level, let's say. And man, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. You know, at that time, I did all my homework. I worked on my game, and I was very tough mentally and physically. But then here's where God sent you a couple of people to carry you along the way. And I would like to give a shout out to my teammates from Chicago, Keon Smith and Nate Fuqua. Man, living in Chicago is not easy. It get to minus 34 degree in the winter. It's freezing.
Woo!
I don't know where
Mm.
how to eat the food I'm used to eat. I don't know how
Man.
to navigate my way in the city. I was living on South Chicago, Stony Island in South Chicago. Like, people from Chicago know what that means. Like, you know, it was insane, but these people took me like a family, you know. I had really horrible days where I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? Am I going back to my country ever or am I living here? What career I want to have? And you know, you have your down moment, you have a time where, like, you know, you don't want to do anything, you go to practice but you're not there. That's Don't worry. If you're doing what you're supposed to do from the beginning here, where the people along the way will rise to take your head. So to go back, I don't want to make it a long story. You have to work on yourself as a player, and maybe one day, by the way, we can have an episode about this. what type of bag you should have as a guard, for example, or what type of bag you should have as a big guy. Nowadays, positions are different. So we will tap into the skills part, but people need to know it's not only the skills, is what you
Yes,
do the extra,
correct.
how to put yourself in a
Yes, sir.
position to reach out to people. So I think that's very, very important too.
So a lot of players see on the news and probably hear about players having an agent. How important is it to have an agent, and how do you, if you do need one, how do you go about finding the right agent and choosing the right agent for yourself?
Wow, Chad, I'll kick that to you right first.
Okay, so yeah, that's a bit of tricky because it's funny, when you're on that pursuit of trying down this, you always in the pursuit of proving that you belong, and it even starts at that place because you have to prove that you belong even to this agent. So you just have to be you're gonna have to have some ammunition. You gotta have something with you. You're gonna have something to be able to present to somebody that's willing, that has the ability to represent you, to get you paid to play a game. So you have to make sure you have game film. I preach that a lot, but you have to understand, from that other person's perspective. If somebody walked up to you and said, "Hey, I know that you're an agent. I want to be a professional basketball player. Can you give me a contract?" What would you say? The first thing you should want to know is, well, can you play? So you have to have some avenues to prove to this potential agent that you can play first. Let's start there, And then from that point, you just have to put yourself out there. You have to find the circles where these people are located. In my generation, if you were in the right places where it came to working on your game, that means you were putting yourself in environments where the pros played. Because in order for you to know that you are capable to be a professional athlete, you have to put yourself up against them. And how would you know that you can compete? So if you're in these spaces where these professional players are playing, then the tangibles of a professional world is there. So maybe the agent of three of the players is there just because he just keeps a close eye on his players. He wants to make sure that they're healthy and make sure that everything is good. Agents and players have relationships like that. Oh, and then guess what? You're in the gym. And you know that guy is an agent to these players because you've also done your research in the industry that you want to work in. You know your industry. You know your competitors. You know the people that have the potential to pay you. When I was trying to pursue basketball, I knew everything about the team and who was the owners and who was the agents and who was the scouts and what was the roster, who was on the roster, how many guards they had per roster, what was the contract, how many years was left on every player's contract. All this information I knew, as well as being good enough to play to be in those situations. So when you're pursuing it, you're going to be in those realms and those worlds where those people that have those links are there, and then you have to proceed on introducing yourself or putting yourself in a situation to where you can be introduced or meet them and then develop your relationship in that way. That's the way that I had to do it and the way that I've seen it done.
Do you see that you need an agent? Do you need an agent to, if you're in the US, to make it to get your first job playing abroad?
I would say yes, because what the agent brings to you is reputation. These clubs have already developed a reputation or a relationship with these agents, okay? So these clubs or these people that, these club owners, managers, or whatever, they have these relationships where they can trust them when they're looking for talent. These agents have already proven to these clubs that, I have a roster of talent that, you can utilize through me. So being using an agent is a necessity because they have direct links to these clubs and these managers. Okay, so they have the direct link. So yes, I would say having an agent initially, definitely initially, is a one up.
Z, what's your take on agents?
Yeah, I agree. I think having an agent it's kind of must. There is an exceptions, but you need to have an agent because I'll tell you from my experience when I was playing back home, a I didn't have to do all that work. The team has tournament, the team has all this stuff, so I was just moving with the team, and other teams will see you. You know, you are under the like under the microscope. You know, people see you on the floor. But I'll tell you my experience here in the state when I came and I don't have an agent and I never played college or anything here. People didn't know anything about me. And at the beginning, I was like, I have little connection. I can make few phone calls. People will vouch for me, but it wasn't easy. I got three tryouts here. It was the Wizards, it was Hornets, and it was Detroit, the Pistons. I didn't go to Detroit at all, but I'll tell you between the difference between the first one and the second one. The first one is when I went by myself. Uh, uh, I was talking to someone who was hoping to be an agent, but he was just like knowing few people. He never done it before. So when I went there, I was on my own. And it's funny, I always say this story. When we were going to the tryouts, at that we were like around 50 player and they were like they look at me and they were like trainers that way. I was like, no, I'm not a trainer, I'm with the players. It was like trainers that way. Like I'm a
Terrible.
player, man. So nobody was like really. I think I didn't have a great tryout, but I wasn't bad at all. But nobody was uh, paying attention to me. Nobody cared. Like your agent will make do the talking for you while you're playing. While you're working on you need someone who can introduce you the right way. And even when there is a contract on the table, you need someone to negotiate this contract. You need someone to,
Right.
you cannot market yourself. It just doesn't look good for you. You cannot be like I'm a really good rebounder. I'm like the best who touch it. Come on, man. Nobody want to listen to this. Never trust the person who say trust me, right? So at the end, you need someone to do the talking for you and and
Facts.
open the doors. I think that's why I think it, like Chad said, you need someone who already established his connection, who's already trustworthy, and then he will open the door for you. Now, on the other side, I think about it when I was playing, I was like kind of agent to my friends in the area without taking money or anything, but I was doing it because we're brothers. So a lot of players would call me like, "Is it a good team? Do you think they will pay me on time? Do you think if I get injured or anything, they will screw me up or anything?" And the same the team, they would be like, "Do you know someone like big guy? Do you know someone who you play for? We can trust."
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it happens
Exactly.
that I was that person, but if I'm not there,
Mhm.
who's gonna be the middle guy? So I think it's always
Right.
wherever you go. And honestly, the more connected your agent, the more reach you're gonna have. If your agent is like, in Europe, you are open to all the Europe market. If your agent is more like, connected in the state or especially like, South America and we'll dive into the differences in the money and in the competition and the level of playing between Europe, South America, Asia, Middle East, and here in the state. There's a lot of differences. Uh, the money is a huge aspect. So I think having an agent is a must. So I would say for a college kid who's working on himself and doing his research and doing everything he's supposed to do, he have to find that person. Sometimes it doesn't have to be, an agent who's been doing it for 50 years. Go find someone who can be, uh, probably a player who just retired, probably someone in a neighbor. When you ask, you will get to someone. I will reach out to all my friends who I know who play basketball. Do you know anybody who played professionally? I reach out to him and say, hey, do you recommend anybody for me? Would you put a word out for me? You're gonna get probably seven no, but then you're gonna eight. The eight will be yes. The 10 will be yes. And you need only one
Right.
yes to open one door. You play your
That's right.
first season or first league
Mhm.
anywhere for any
Mhm.
amount of money, and you come back with
Mhm.
that on your resume, you put yourself in a way better position to have a job the next year. You do it for 2 years, your
Absolutely.
chances are higher for the third year. You just have to know it's not like, boom, here we are. I'm playing over there. No, no. They want to know you. They want to see you. So how can I be seen? So I think
Mhm.
I always make it long, but having an agent, I think it's a very important thing.
No, I think that's really valuable advice. And I think what I'm taking away from it is, number one, you've got to have your game. You've got to be solid, and that comes with the dedication. Secondly, you got to put yourself in those settings where the pros are playing, where the scouts are going to be, where the agents are going to be, whether that's a gym, whether that's a party, whether that's hanging out with, talking to your coaches. And once you're in there, be persistent, try to make as many connections as possible. And, something's going to hit. Something's going to hit, but that
I,
that persistence is key.
I have a story. I have an example of this particular thing that may have changed the course of my career, and this is why it's so poignant for me. And the gentleman I'm going to mention, I hope that he will be a guest with us, which I'm sure he will. But Tierra Brown, McNeese State, okay, one of the best basketball players I've ever had the pleasure to compete against. We graduated from college at the same time, around 2001. So we were in pursuit of the NBA. In our generation, of course, you want to swing for the stars. Okay, so we both was in pursuit of playing in the NBA. So we had put ourselves in these environments that we had just spoke on. We would show up at where the Rockets would play. It would be a gym full of NBA players. And if anybody know, when you're trying to come up in it, you have to wait your turn. If there's only 10 people can play at a time, and if 15 NBA guys walk in the gym and you're the 17th and 18th guy, most of that day you're not going to play. Now, at the end of that type of basketball situation, some of the guys will get tired faster than others, and then maybe you'll get an opportunity to float on the court and get a chance to play these pro guys when they're probably not really playing as hard anymore. They're probably tired, but you got a couple of guys out there that still want to keep going, and you have an opportunity to play. So me and Tierra Brown was those two kids that would go and show up and work out with the guys, and we would do it all, 2 a days, 3 a days, drills, weightlifting, everything it took to get in there with the NBA guys. These sessions would cost three, four, $5,000, but we were savvy enough to be able to get in there without having to pay that money. But then it got to the point to where we would be watching a lot, and we would go through all the drills and the dribbling drills and the shooting drills and the weightlifting, but when it came time to play, we didn't get on the court as much as I would like. You know, I must say that I may have been slightly overzealous, but I knew the amount of work I put in my game, and I knew I was ready to play and compete against those guys, and I was ready to prove myself. But I wasn't patient enough. But Tierra Brown was. And it got to the point to where I was like, Tierra, man, I'm gonna stop coming, man. I need to play. I doing the drills, but I'm not getting to compete. So I'm gonna go somewhere else where I can actually get on the court. That was my thing. My game is gonna show me, it's gonna prove my game is gonna get me there. That was my mindset. But Tierra was like, I'm gonna stick it out. And that's where we trained together. We was training buddies, and that's where we separated. I kid you not. Maybe a week after that, this was when the Rockets had Katino Mobley, Steve Francis, and they had a guard named Moochie Norris. During this summer, Moochie Norris was in a contract dispute with the Rockets,
He's your
so
friend
they was
too,
in the
right?
market for.
He's your friend
Yeah,
too.
yeah, he's my friend as well. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Rockets was in the market for guards. Because Tierra Brown stuck to the plan, he just so happened to be in the gym when there was two or three agents and Rudy Tomjanovich just so happened to be there.
Oh God.
He just so happened this day to get on the court and play like he would always play, tremendous. And they just so happened to notice him, and they just so happened to say, "Hey, do you have an agent?" And Tierra was like, "No." And the agent that was in the gym said, "You do now." And Tierra, from that moment, was signed to the Rockets and had a substantial NBA career because he stuck to the plan. And if there's any lesson in life that I had to tell you or to paint a picture how important who you know and the value of networking and that is it right there. Had I stuck to the plan, I could have had at least competed for the spot, just just being there. But because he stuck to it, he got a true, real opportunity, and he made it work. And he played for the Rockets. He just played for the Lakers. He played for the Toronto Raptors, I believe. So yes, so I'm telling you, that's my example
Man,
of real life.
What a great story, man.
what
Great
a story,
story.
man. Yeah, yeah. What a lesson. What a
hmm
lesson.
Yes, what a
Wow.
lesson. What a lesson.
Man,
Yeah.
thanks for
All
sharing.
right.
That's a
Y-
great lesson.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so applicable to so many other aspects of life. Seriously. All right, let's keep going because we're running short on time. All right, I want to move to the topic that is the answer to 99 questions out of 100, which is money. I think a
hmm
lot of young guys are going to be thinking, all right, what is playing abroad? What's in it for me? You know, how much I'm going to make? What should the expectations be? Uh, and how will that impact the decisions they make in terms of which markets they go into? Um, Obviously, most people aren't just going to have a choice of, oh, I want to go play in France, and they're going to go play in France. You know, you're limited to the opportunities that you're given. But just to set the scene, based on what you guys know and your past experience, coming out of college, first time playing, what should the financial expectations be in terms of what you're gonna make? And why don't I start with Z? There. What do you think? What should people have in mind as a target that is worth going for and to expect with their first job abroad?
Well, I'll talk about it in the different lenses. I'll talk about it from a perspective when I was back home, when teams talk to me to find a player and we talk about the budget, how the budget is set. You know, Chad will tell you how his agent presented to him or how he see it as a player, but I'll give you the back end when the teams how that amount of money come to see it in general. So I would say back home, first of all, it depends on the market. You know, European market usually like higher competition, more money, especially if you play Spain, France, those places. It different from Division 1 to 2. But let's say from my my location, you know, let's say the Middle East and all the places around it, I think it first of all depends on the team. If the teams are one of the top 3 4 teams, they're gonna look for a players who are well known, they have a great resume, and they're gonna pay you top dollars for that. Now for the teams who are in between, a lot of time they look, I need 2 players. So I'll probably spend my money on one a really good player, and the second one will be somebody new, somebody just got out of college, somebody will just want to, show himself. So I usually, when I, contact my friend, it depends on the team. But let's say if I know it's a big team, I'm gonna have to reach out to a person who's been in the area for a while because they're gonna like the name, they're gonna pay whatever he's asking for. And I think at that time, and my time now probably different, a really good player will, you know, you have to pay him around like let's say $8 to $14,000 a month. That's, despite I'm talking about my area. Now you gotta give him a place to stay, a
Your
house,
area.
everything.
So sorry, Z. See, just to say your area, just to make it clear to the audience, we're talking Middle East right now. So we're
Middle East,
talking
Middle East. It's different between,
Syria,
let's say
Jordan,
Lebanon,
Saudi.
Syria, Jordan. Some league pay way more. It depends on how long the league lasts, 6 months or 4 months or 8 months.
hmm
Because also some players like, well, I need 150 guarantee, for example. So that gonna stretch for 6, 7 months. But what I would say is that's for the good player. Like if you are not a really good player or just got out of college and you don't have that much experience, which is that's what we do for family we know or a friend of a friend or friend's son who trying to get break into the league. Let's find them a team who's willing to play certain amount of money just for you to go there and show what you got. They're gonna take care of the place to stay. They're gonna give you a house, sometimes food, some teams will give you a car or transportation, make sure you know you go to practice back and forth. But after this, you get straight to your pocket this amount of money. Now, you have to be wise now. If I'm still new, if I just left college or, I've been you know, not really exposed to this market, I would say here where you need to take less money, but find a place where you can play and show yourself. Because I remember, which is a story not everybody would know, but Chad probably would remember. Al Wahda Club had a player named Andre Pitts. Andre Pitts was like the
Mm.
most successful American player
Yes.
to come to our league. Insane. I
That's
worked
right.
out with him, play against him. Man, he is a great person at everything. When he came his first contract, it was for $3,000 a month for they don't even know him. He was like wearing his flip flop. They were like, can we send him back, get someone else? They were like, it's too late. We have Dubai tournament. He needs to play, so we have to have him. Man, first game 35, second game 36. Boom, he blew up, man. He was the man, like people would walk
The
behind him in the
man.
streets. And he got
Yes.
right after that, he signed for $20,000 a month from another team, and
Yeah.
I think he went up to
Yeah.
30 in Iran or something. So
Yeah.
look how
Yeah.
it goes. For $3,000 a month, he was like, "Yeah, I'll come," but then it was just a completely different game. Uh, Now also you get to show your personality. You know, uh, playing is great. Playing great, but playing overseas is not for everyone. You being just a good athlete, it's a great plus, but not enough. These people look at you as they're Michael Jordan. So you have to live to that expectation. You have to carry yourself the right way. Uh, with Chad as an example, you have to be likable. You have to be coachable. You cannot just say, I'm gonna go there and get it. No, you have to do this. And that's what start to get you the money. Don't be greedy. Be greedy about building yourself, your resume. I'll take the 5,000. Now, when I remember when I went to South America, the money was a little similar. Like you would make like, eight to $10,000 a month, but living there is not expensive. So you have also to know where you're going as a player. Am I going to a place where I'm gonna get three, $4,000? But yeah, it's equal like here, like you're getting paid 15 probably because life is so cheap over there.
Mhm.
And all of that come to count. Money is important, but in your early stages, don't be greedy about the money because the money will come later. Because overseas is different. If you can last longer, have a great reputation, and doing good slowly, you will make more money overall because you're gonna just play longer. And funny thing about playing overseas, sometimes when the league is finished in South America, it start in Asia. So you can just basically playing all year round in two different leagues, make triple amount of money you just make by playing one place. Some people be like, no, I'm gonna go play in this place, come back home, rest, work on my game, see my family. It's up to you at that point. But be smart about it. Like read some articles about it. Ask people. Not always the big money up front is the most attractive one. Sometimes you will give up some opportunities just to go play overseas. I hope that
Mhm.
answered the question, Mike.
Yeah, no, it does. And I think just piggybacking off that, just a follow up question: would you say then there's times that it's worth taking a pay cut to get more playing time,
Well,
depending
well,
on the
well,
actual?
well, yeah. Let
Go
me let
ahead.
me let me comment on that. Z 100% correct. So I wanted to highlight that you need to understand exposure is just as valuable as money,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're starting out. So I tell all young athletes, if you're trying to start out, the exposure in the beginning is actually more valuable than what they're paying you. You should be, honestly, to be real, if you this is the thing, if you wasn't a potential draft pick that just didn't get drafted, or any of that, if you didn't have any relationship with the NBA, if you're trying to be a pro, you have to accept the first thing smoking because the exposure is what's valuable at first. Because you can't get paid if you ain't played nowhere. That's the caveat. You have to have experience. Why I need to know that you can do this on a consistent basis. You have to look at it from a business perspective too. You have to understand they're paying for a product that they expect every time. That means I expect you to be successful for the majority of the time you touch the court. If I'm going to consistently pay you money to play something that we essentially would do for free. You know what I mean? So you have to look at it like that. They're paying for consistency. So out the gate, you have to prove that you can do that consistently. That means you played pro this year, and then the following year you got someone paid you to play again, and someone paid you to play again. So okay, so how much you want? Now you can start suggesting your value. You know what I'm saying? And your value, it revolves around your experience. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put yourself in a situation to increase your value. So if you take this job, and this is what I tell my son, if you expect to get paid more, you have to be better than the level that you're on. If you expect to advance your career, when you sign that deal and when you're in the league you're playing in, you better be better than that level you're in to make sure you're going to play the following year. So you have to always maintain your value of play. You have to be valuable. So that's how your money increases. But in the beginning, you have to take what comes your way because what's
Whatever
most
comes your way.
invaluable is your exposure first. And then you can start working on building your value, and that's your productivity builds value, you know. So you get to this league, okay, you playing in a league that's paying $500 a month. But you say you're better than $500 a month, then you should be the best player in that league.
Hmm.
And then the
Absolutely.
team that pays 1,000 say,
That's
well, shit, you was the best player in that league. I'll pay you 1,000 to come play for us. And if you feel like you are deserving 2 grand, then you should be the best player in that league that's paying you only 1,000.
true.
Then
Yep.
That's so
so you see
true.
what I'm saying? So that's how you increase your value. So now you get to a so now you playing. So then you get into a team where okay, now this team is paying you $4,000. That may not be a lot, but they play in a tournament that plays against teams from other leagues that pay way more. So maybe you playing on a team that pays an average of 3,000 a month, but they're playing in a tournament that's playing a team that average pays 15 grand a month. That's your chance to level up. So you get a
Hmm.
chance to increase your value in that game. So, but in the beginning, you have to take what they give you, you know.
There's a quote I heard. I've known for a while, but luck is preparation meeting opportunity. And I think
Bingo.
that's sort of what we're talking about, which is like when that moment comes, be ready.
Be ready at
Recognize
the
that
right
this is an important
opportunity.
moment.
Yes,
Absolutely.
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 And I think the other
Absolutely.
thing you're mentioning, it's funny because I don't come from this industry, but I've worked with a lot of young people in the media industry, and it's really the same advice. It's
Mm,
like, get your hands dirty, be ready to do any job, get some pieces or stories or anything in your portfolio to show
yes,
the next opportunity that comes along. It's not about the money at the beginning. It's
that's right.
about building your exposure, your
Hmm.
portfolio,
Hmm.
and that's what you're going to sell to level
Hmm.
up to the next in the next phase.
That's
So
right.
good, guys.
100%.
Such good stuff. All right,
100%.
there's going to be so much more of this sort of stuff, but before we go, I wanted to try out a new segment just to test out your guys' basketball knowledge, since you claim to be experts about the international scene. So I've gathered a list of NBA players, ex and current, and coaches
Mhm.
that have experience abroad, and some of them that don't. So I'm gonna go
It's
through
like a pub
these
quiz right now,
and
man.
pop quiz,
Yeah.
I'm
baby.
done with those
Yeah,
days, bro.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love it.
No, no, no,
Bring
no
it
more
on.
generic, no more generic answers, man. No, we're gonna put
Bring
you
it
guys
on.
to the test. All right. So you just tell me if this person did play abroad or not, and if you want some bonus points, you can reference one of the countries that you think they did play in. All right. We'll start
All
with
right.
some easy ones. PJ Tucker,
Yes, he's played overseas.
I
And
don't
if
know
I
where he
could
played,
guess
but
the,
I think he played overseas.
and if I could guess, I think he's played. He may have played in Barcelona. I'm not sure. Spain. Let's see.
okay, you're close. Yes, he did play abroad. And according to our friends again at ChatGPT, he played in Ukraine, Greece, and Germany in Europe.
Okay.
Ah,
Okay.
awesome, awesome. Okay,
All right.
okay.
All right.
I like
All right.
this one. I like this one. Eric Spolstra, coach of the Miami Heat.
Oh,
Well, his from Philippine, I think. So I don't know if he coached his team, the national team, probably. I'm not sure. No,
mm.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
I
Chad?
I don't think he did. From my understanding, he was a trainer for the Miami Heat. Well, he was a film guy for the Miami Heat, but
Yeah, he was
that
a
doesn't
video coordinator.
right. But that doesn't mean he didn't have a life prior to that. So, but I'm gonna say no. Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
I say no.
Both of you incorrect. Eric Spolstra did coach abroad as an assistant and player coach in the Philippines.
Oh
So you were
wow.
Okay.
close, Z. You were close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta be more
All
sure.
right. I think
Okay.
you. I think you probably know this one. Patrick Beverly.
Oh, he definitely played overseas.
Yeah, he
I
did.
think Greece
Yeah.
too, as a matter of fact.
Absolutely. Patrick
Yeah.
Beverly played in Greece, Ukraine, and Russia.
Yeah.
Not good
In Russia, I
experience with
With
remember
Patrick
that.
Beverly. Sorry, Pat. Not good
Oh.
experience with you, brother. No,
I
man.
think I think we need a Patrick Beverly story
Yes,
if it's
absolutely.
okay.
Man,
Absolutely.
not good. Not good. In my first game here in the state, the coach was like, Z, go get Patrick. And Patrick looked at me like, I'm not subbing for you to come out of the game and you come in. He looked at me so bad. And whatever. I'm just gonna keep it out there. I don't wanna start a feud with anybody. Yeah. He was a
Feuds
good
get
player
clicks.
though.
Yes.
All right. Joe Ingles, currently playing, I
Oh, he
believe,
did.
for well,
Yeah.
where is he right now? I don't even know.
I
Milwaukee
think he
Bucks. He's not with the Bucks anymore.
Bucks
Is
or
he
the
still?
Yeah,
He
the
might still
Bucks.
with
I
the
think.
Bucks.
Yeah, he did. I think he
He,
did. Yeah, he absolutely did.
peak play time with the Jazz.
Yes, he
Yeah.
was doing
Yep,
very well with the
he
Jazz.
did. He did. He played in Australia and Spain.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yep.
He is
Spain. I remember.
Australian, isn't he?
He's Australian, I think.
Mm,
All right. He
yeah.
is Australian. Yeah, he definitely played on
Okay.
he played on the Australian team.
Definitely.
All right, Coach Ime Udoka.
Oh, I like Coach Ime.
Yes. Yes. He coached an African national team, I want to say, or a team in Nigeria, I want to say.
I'm not sure.
So little bit of a trick question. He does have the Nigerian roots. He played internationally with the national teams, but no pro clubs. So
No
that was a little bit of a
problem.
trick one.
Wow,
Okay.
that's a
All
good
right.
one. Man, you're doing your homework, Mike. Bringing those names like
Absolutely.
tricky ones. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do the last one. And again, this segment is sponsored by ChatGPT. Um, uh, last one, Nick Nurse, coach currently of the 76ers. I think he's still there.
Now, I would definitely be guessing with Mr. Nurse, but I would say because to me, he seems to come from out of nowhere, to be perfectly honest, in the coaching world. So I'm going to say he did coach overseas somewhere.
Good point. Good point. I don't know, honestly. I'm gonna pass.
He did. He did. He coached in the UK and Europe, specifically for one of the teams in the British Basketball League.
He looked like he
Awesome.
did,
Awesome.
same
He
style.
Yeah, he
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
does.
yeah.
Yeah. He's got that. He's got that British charm.
He does have that British charm. Facts.
Excellent. Excellent, guys. Well, look, thank you for that. That was fun. I think let's wrap it up. We got so much more to cover in upcoming episodes, but uh, let's let's stop it there. But maybe also Z, maybe we can give the audience a little bit of a foreshadow of what we have to come. I know we've got some names that we're cooking up as potential guests coming up later this month. If you want to speak on that.
Well, hopefully we'll confirm soon, but hopefully we having Adam Felipe coming into our podcast. Adam been one of the top player development coaches in the NBA. One with the Lakers, three championships. Worked with Kobe and a lot of players. Now he's specialized more in shooting. He's a shooting coach. He worked a lot of players, and their percentage show itself in the league. He's a big name, so we're trying to bring you someone with insight from behind the scene in the NBA to give you advice and give you an idea how players work on themselves as an NBA player. He's a big name. He played in Italy. He have a huge international experience. Great person to know. So I'm hoping we have him next. And hopefully Chad also bring a couple friends from the Houston area who played in the NBA. Hopefully we get your friend Brown too, to
Oh yeah,
comment
we
on
got we
that
got some
story
surprises.
himself.
Definitely, definitely, we got some surprises. I look forward to it. Yes, as we got some people in the TL cooking right now. Yeah, so stay tuned. I'm looking forward to it as well. I can't wait.
Right. And please, everyone, if you have any question about playing internationally, please feel free to reach out to us on our page. You can reach out to me personally too. Ask me all the question. I know we try to answer a lot of questions, but it's only so much we can think of. So if anybody have any question, have anything would like to know, have this is my situation, this is what I'm working on, what you guys advise me with, we're more than happy to put our expertise in your hand and just help you follow your dream, because
Absolutely,
we've been the people who the hand been given to us, so we just keep it rolling.
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. We'll we'll make that effort. We'll put some posts out on our Facebook, Instagram channels. Call out for questions. You can just send us an email because we really want that. Really want that audience engagement. We want to make sure we're covering the topics that really matter to you guys. All right. Thank you all, guys. Z, Chad, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
All right,
Thank
guys,
you,
take care,
thank you,
boss.
man. Take care, everyone. See ya. Bye bye.